Hello everyone, back to tuning in to today's second video, doing European outlook for today's second video. So on Thursday, we're having a detailed look at the weather for next week, 10 days across Europe, and I shall get on with that for you in a moment. Just to say that the first video release day was our 6 AM UK weather forecast, and we've got 10 to 14 down with all of the red features coming at you later on this afternoon. Please like, share and subscribe on all of today's videos and content. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. Of course, we're back in business today after I had a week in Tenerife, but you know, all the content returns today. Right, okay, so you're going to start off with the situation across Europe for today. Now, of course, we've been hearing a lot about the extreme heat wave that's been going on across southern parts of Europe. That continues for the time being. More about that when we look at the upper air temperatures in a moment, but the southern part of Europe is still very hot. Northern Europe, though, very different scene up here. We've got low pressure dominating across northern, northeastern parts of Europe. And we're bringing in the wind from off the Atlantic into the western part of Europe as well. Now, look at the upper air temperatures. Real north-south divide across Europe. Very unusual to see it quite as stark as this. So really hot, those upper air temperatures across southern parts of Europe, still eastern, southern, southeast parts of Spain, into the southern part of the Mediterranean, just making it to Corsica, Sardinia, and into the Balearic Islands as well, and into southern parts of Italy, down towards Malta as well, looking really hot through there, and extending into Greece and Turkey increasingly at the moment with that extreme heat as well. But further north, it's much, much cooler up there. So cool with the upper air temperatures through the UK and Ireland, up to Scandinavia, through the Low Countries into which is Germany and Poland as well, for example, and the Baltic Sea states looking relatively cool with those upper air temperatures too. Low pressure marks the boundaries, so showers and or longer spells rain across Scandinavia and some eastern parts of Europe, a few showers out in the west as well. Much of southern Europe, though, mostly dry, as well as really hot conditions, of course, and heat go. They've got lots of dry weather, but a few thunderstorms through eastern parts of Spain, maybe, but generally it's a very hot, sunny scene across most parts of the Mediterranean. And of course, we have some thunderstorms around the Alpine regions. And temperatures look like that, so very hot across the southern parts of Europe again. We see temperatures into the upper 20s or into the upper 30s or even the 40s Celsius here across portions of southern and also southeastern Europe. Much cooler though out to the north and west, notably so across Norway and up into northern parts of Sweden and Finland, for example, but also cooler through the UK, Ireland, and generally a cooler scene through northern parts of Europe. On into Friday, low pressure dominates across Scandinavia and the northeast of Europe, and another area of low pressure beginning to start heading in from off the Atlantic as well. The upper air temperatures on Monday looking like that, so the heat just begins to ease a little bit further towards the south and southeast then. Still very hot sitting across them there, but we just see that the heat is beginning to ease further eastward, particularly affecting southern Italy and again over towards Greece and possibly increasingly up towards Turkey as well. That's where the extreme heat looks like it's becoming more centred and focused. It does also push up in towards the Balkans, though, so a very hot scene from the Balkans towards the Black Sea. To the north and west of that, though, it is a cooler scene, particularly again through much of northern and also west of Europe. Precipitation-wise, we look like that. Heavy showers and or longer spells of rain over Scandinavia, so those showers extend down into towards Greece and Turkey as well. Thunderstorms likely through there, and again, particularly around the Alpine regions too. A large part of the eastern Europe was mostly dry, hot and sunny, much of southern Europe again looking mainly dry, hot and sunny. Then up the western side of Europe, a few showers into Scandinavia, the UK and Ireland, with more wet weather beginning to get itself together to the west of Ireland. More about that in a moment. Temperature-wise, see how the extreme heat, the pink colours, are sort of easing in towards the eastern and the southeastern part of Europe, from Italy in towards Greece and Turkey as well. Further north and west, so it's a cooler scene, particularly again notably so through Ireland, UK and up into Scandinavia as well, but not particularly hot through sort of Germany, Low Countries, France. Temperatures in many areas perhaps around to a little bit below average. Over the far east and southeast part of France actually looks quite hot there. Right into Saturday, the next area of low pressure comes in from off the Atlantic into the UK and Ireland, so that will be bringing cloud outbreaks of rain with it. We still have low pressure across northern parts of Europe as well. Temperature-wise, or upper air temperature-wise, we see, again, we've got the extreme heat in the southeastern corner, in particular southern Italy, in towards Greece and Turkey. You see the focus of that heat. It is a hot scene further west as well, from the central part of Med looking very hot, particularly down towards northern parts of Africa and into southern parts of Spain, Portugal as well, but just easing the heat down ever so slightly, just by a couple of degrees probably. Further northwest, the upper temperatures, of course, remain rather cool, and we've got wet and windy weather coming in off the Atlantic into the UK and Ireland as well. On Saturday, could be a little bit of a washout in some places on Saturday. Further north, we're going to have showers and longer spells right there across Scandinavia, and also into Baltic Sea states of Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, could be some showers through there. Also Finland being affected by showers as well. And then, of course, we've got these thunderstorms here across the Alpine region, just extending towards Austria, Hungary, for example. Into the southern part of Europe again, see mostly dry scene across many parts of the Mediterranean and much of France, away from the far north. And then with the temperatures on Saturday again, we've got the southeast corner of Black Sea down towards Greece, Turkey, Romania for it being affected by this, for example. Very, very hot air through there, so temperatures into the upper 30s, if not the 40s Celsius still. And southern parts of Italy too. Some parts of Spain, Portugal still looking very hot through there. A little bit warmer through France, in some parts of Germany and parts of the Low Country as well, maybe by Saturday. But to the north and west of that, it is a very cool scene actually through Ireland, the UK, and much of Scandinavia. You could see some notably low temperatures, particularly for parts of Britain actually, with those outbreaks of rain coming in off the Atlantic. Temperatures may be pegged back just into the low teens Celsius on Saturday afternoon. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Right, on into Sunday. Low pressure from the UK pushing through the North Sea towards Denmark and southern parts of Scandinavian Peninsula, Norway and Sweden. And you see, just generally, it's a low pressure across the northwest Europe on Sunday. Meanwhile, further south, of course, that's where the hot air remains. The upper air temperature beginning to rebuild the heat across some southern and eastern parts of Spain. Is that heat starting to surge back northwards again? Possibly a hot scene through the central bowl of the Med again, especially the further south you happen to go. The heat may be easing a little bit on Sunday across parts of Greece and Turkey into the Low Countries actually. But to the north and west again, it remains quite cool with both upper air temperatures. So again, we see a very, very clear and stark, usually stark, north and northwest to south-southeast divide with those upper air temperatures on Sunday. And low pressure again bringing further showers and or longer spells of rain to much of northern and west Europe, including northern France into the Low Countries, northern western parts of Germany and up towards Denmark, some parts of Sweden as well. But the south and east of that, mostly dry, sunny and also very hot. And then on into Monday, that area of low pressure begins to set up around Denmark and southern parts of Sweden. So again, it looks an unsettled scene to the north of the west of Europe. Once more, the upper air temperatures, they're looking very hot across many southern parts of Europe again. Southern Europe again, extreme heat continues there. And trying to push that heat northwards actually into this eastern part of Europe. So we might start to see things getting hotter through Poland and in towards Ukraine as well, and then down towards the Black Sea into the southern southeastern parts of Europe. So very hot upper air temperatures there. Further northwest looks cool with both upper air temperatures once again though bringing showers and or longer spells of rain with low pressure to northern and western parts of Europe. Some thunderstorms here through central parts of Europe sparking off, and then of course where we've got the hottest of the air, it's mostly dry with long hot sunshine in much of southern, eastern and also southeastern Europe. The temperatures again, you see how hot it's going to be across southern and southeast parts of Europe, but a bit of a change with that heat just pushing a little bit further north, just into the extreme east of Germany, but particularly through Poland and over towards the Ukraine as well. We do see that the temperatures get hotter there by the beginning of next week, but it remains cool to the north and the west of that. Moving through Tuesday, low pressure is dominating over Scandinavia. More low pressure is beginning to get going in the Atlantic. That's got the name of the UK and Ireland on it as well. The upper air temperatures hot across the south and the southeast, extreme heat continuing, particularly in the southeastern part of Europe, cooler out to the north and the west. Showers and longer spells of rain to northern and also western parts of Europe. Some quite wet weather in some places. Again, the southern southeast part of Europe mostly dry, and temperatures look really hot in the far east and south of Europe, cooler though out to the north and the west. On into Wednesday, low pressure in the Atlantic beginning to start moving our way, with another area of low pressure centred over Scandinavia and northeastern parts of Europe. Upper air temperatures again show the extreme heat down in the south, maybe easing back ever so slightly through some parts of the central bowl of the Med, but still very hot really across most parts of southern Europe. Cooler, of course, further northwest, where there is a warm set coming in with this area of low pressure. That does pick the upper air temperature up a little bit, but of course the price paid for that will be outbreaks of rain. We see all of this wet weather in the Atlantic with the name of UK Island on it, as I say, for the middle of next week, and further showery bursts ahead of it. Then we've got lots of heavy showers, thunderstorms and long spells of rain through northern parts of Europe as well, especially Scandinavia and into northwestern Russia, and also through the Baltic Sea states too. Some thunderstorms over in Ukraine being triggered by the heat and humidity through there. Scattered storms elsewhere, but much of southern Europe actually looking mostly dry, hot and sunny. And we see the temperatures again, they look really hot through the south of Europe, cooler though out to the north and west. And then move through into Thursday, where the next area of low pressure comes in off the Atlantic into the UK and Ireland, still with low pressure sat over Scandinavia as well. So the upper air temperatures continue to look hot in the south, but easing back maybe slightly through the middle of next week, further north and west. Slightly warmer with the upper air temperature, but it's only sort of warm sectors being dragged in from off the Atlantic by the areas of low pressure. You see there is further showers and or longer spells of rain affecting much of northern, central and western Europe. The driest weather is with the hot sunshine down across the southern part of Europe, and those temperatures are looking hot through the south of Europe, but cooler further north and west. I'll just run you on to day 10. So this is Friday 28th of July, with low pressure coming in from off the Atlantic, bringing more wet weather with it into the north and west of Europe for the end of next week. And then the final weekend of July, 29th, 30th, looking pretty grim, I have to say, through much of northern and west Europe. Low pressure remains in control and in the ascendancy. Let's just have a look at those upper air temperatures. You see the north-south split goes on. So whilst not quite as cool as it is at the moment across northern West Europe, nevertheless the upper air temperatures there are coolest, and the hottest upper air temperatures remain in the south and also the far southeast of Europe. That's right up to the penultimate day of July. So quite an interesting pattern, and as long as this jet stream continues to come in through the northwest Europe, that will keep the hottest of the air bottled up down in the south. So the heat dome will just keep feeding back on itself, if you like. I'll probably talk a little bit more about this in day 10 to 14 day. But yes, an unsettled scene through northern and western Europe. It is a very hot scene though across much of southern and southeastern Europe. It looks like this is the pattern that we've got through the rest of July. Anyway, maybe August we'll see a change. We'll have to wait and see. We're going to be back shortly with 10 to 14 days, so come back for that then. If you enjoyed this European outlook, then please do like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody, if you did that. And we'll see you a little bit later on for our 10 to 14 day. For this remote, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.